Allow me to extend a warm welcome to all the viewers on the internet and around the world. It is sunrise on YouTube, morning on Facebook, noon on Twitter, midday on Threads, afternoon on Twitch, sunset on Instagram, and evening on Rumble. I am your host, the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains, and the master of the deceptive arts. We are broadcasting live directly from the sanctum of solitude and the citadel at the end of time. Good evening, everyone. I am the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains, and I am the master of the deceptive arts. And I return once more to be the proud voice of the vasectomites. And today, as a proud vasectomist, that's a new word that I'm just going to incorporate into my everyday lingo. As a proud vasectomist, I wanted us to discuss the issue of intelligence. And I wanted to talk about intelligence and some of the characteristics that are identified and associated with intelligent people. So this isn't everything, it's a short list. It's about 10 things, right? So it's not every single characteristic, but it's some of the common characteristics of intelligent people. But along with our discussion on human dynamics, I wanted us to ask and perhaps answer the question, are relationships intelligent? Or rather the questions, are relationships intelligent? And is it intelligent to get into relationships, or what I call the romance wars? Can we really associate intelligence with this practice? Now, I'm not talking about who you are at work. I'm not talking about a situation where you're a person and you behave a particular way at work, and we should associate that behavior from work with your relationships. I don't think that's fair. I think we should just look at relationships by themselves. I've said it a million times. These benders and these counterparts, they pull off the most magnificent deception at work. They make you think and believe that they are just one way, when they are a completely other type of situation, where they live in another type of situation and they act and they behave in a completely bizarre and uncharacteristic way. And that is because the work environment, number one, the consequences of those are dire, but also they have checks and balances, what they call quality assurance, right? You might even have a QA department. They have quality assurance to make sure that their staff behaves at a particular way, and they uphold particular standards. But these standards don't apply in relationships and in most marriages. I would assume. I wouldn't know, never been married. But we need to ask ourselves, is doing this really the smart thing to do? Now, you know where I stand. For me, it's a clear and resounding no. And I'm of the point that relationships, from my point of view, are not the intelligent thing to do under any circumstance. And I say this both from observation and my own personal experience. Right, I've been outside of relationships for several years now, and I don't regret it. I really don't regret it. And I think I've said this before, but many years ago, when I met my last counterpart, which has been years. It's been years since I've been in a relationship. Other situations, it is what it is. But as for dating, relationships, commitment, no. And I don't think I'll ever do that again, to be honest with you. The experience to me is underwhelming. overpromise, under delivering, underwhelming, and the results are just not what you want. What you put in and what you get out, just they don't match up. At work, you what you put in is what you get out in terms of productivity. It's one thing to work hard, it's another to be productive, right? So work hard and be productive. But as from my point of view, I'm all for no relationships at all, to the point where I went ahead and got a vasectomy and froze my sperm, so that even whatever happens biologically, there's just no chance of a commitment, a tie, or obligation, anything like that. And I would happily pack my bags and move to another country to avoid a counterpart. It's nothing for me. I'm the Bachelor Supreme. I can move anywhere in the world and make it just fine, right? But I want to be where I want to be. But again, for me, relationships, no, in no way, shape, or form are they an indication of intelligence, right? Despite only the most minimal experience with counterparts, I'm speaking about myself now. I've never been married, no kids, right? And really cohabitated. Yes, I've cohabitated with people for what I will believe would think is far too long. And that was a terrible mistake. You know, cohabitation, just don't do it, man. I don't care how bad your place looks like, or how small it is, or which part of town it's on. You're better off living by yourself than living with a counterpart. It doesn't matter how big your house is. The truth is, you could move to one end of a mansion, and the counterpart could have access to another end of the mansion, and she'll just leave that side to come over here and start whatever they want to start. There's no house big enough for you to be able to avoid the nonsense, the drama, the issues of a counterpart. Even if they give you your man cave, which is so pathetic. There is nothing more pathetic than buying a mansion, paying for it, and being told you only get one room and that's your little man cave. No way. The whole thing is mine. This is my castle. The whole thing is mine and everything in it. I hate Sherry. I hate Sherry. But for you guys who think you're just gonna buy a nice house, she'll have her space, you'll have your space, everybody will have your own space. You won't have any space, right? And and having done a little bit of cohabitation, I regretted it. I absolutely regretted it, and it's so terrible that eventually the counterpart and I, we just weren't talking, even in the house, and eventually she had to go. And when she left, I had to protest, right? I had to act like it was a bad idea. I had to act like I regretted it. I had to act like, oh no, financially it's going to be more difficult. Best decision ever, right? I think letting her feel like she was winning the upper hand in that situation created a set of circumstances where every time I invited her over, she would just say no. And eventually I just stopped inviting her, right? And it was a situation where every time I leave her place, I have to act like I'm sad, like, oh, you pull us apart, we used to be so close. I could care less. Cohabitation with these people was the worst experience of my life. And letting her think that she won something by leaving. I mean, the minute she left, I put on 24-hour sports on my TV. It was 24-hour sports news and sports highlights. I saw no weather. I saw no news. I saw no hair products. I saw no housewives. None of that. It was clarity. It was like seeing color for the first time. You know what I mean? It's like hearing a symphony for the first time, or watching the theater, and then they crack a joke that makes you laugh out loud, and you realize, hey, I'm actually interacting in a real way with the performance. I'm part of the performance. It was that kind of feeling. It was liberation. And I was like, I'm never doing that again. And I never have. And in the same way, where I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever be in a relationship, that means I won't be in a relationship ever again. Cohabitation was a terrible idea, right? And what I mean by me having a minimal experience is that I only swam on the shallow side of the pool. I didn't go dive all the way deep down into the dark dimension and get married and have kids. I didn't do none of that. I stayed on the shallow side. But I was on the shallow side of the pool for years. Relationships, whatever you want to call it. I've been the play cousin. I've been the rainbow best friend. I'm standing there, and then she's gonna say, "That's my rainbow best friend," and I'm like, "How you doing, sir?" And the guy looks at me and he's like, "There's no way that guy is a rainbow." I'm like, "Greetings, my fair companion. You think I'm rainbow? Come on, man. Come on." You know what I mean? I've been the Phantom Menace. I've been the Phantom Menace in people's lives, in and out of these situations, and none of it has been worth it, you know. And despite these shallow and fleeting experiences, dating, relationships, being the Phantom Menace and whatnot, I can come out and say that dating is a foolish endeavor. It is, especially for a man, it is just a waste of time, a colossal waste of time, right? And that always goes badly. Like these relationships are never smooth, man. You hear people say, "I'm happy in a relationship," and people are always surprised, like, "How are you happy in a relationship?" That's because these things are miserable, man, and they go badly and they end in catastrophe, you know. But before we can say truly whether a relationship is unintelligent, or even why a relationship is unintelligent, let's first define the word for ourselves, the word intelligence. What does this word actually mean? Right? So let's have a meaningful definition and a point of contact that we can work with. So, intelligence is defined as the ability and capacity. So, you can and you can. You can gain and use information. You can utilize information, knowledge, and skills. This is a very concise, accurate, and true definition. You have the ability and the capacity, so you have the understanding and the ability, right? To get, to receive, to understand, to comprehend the information that you are given, the knowledge that you are given, the wisdom that's being explained to you. You get the lesson that you are trying to be taught in its full measure. And then you have the skills to execute effectively. This is intelligence. You get the information, you get the knowledge, you get the wisdom, then you acquire the skills, and then you utilize those skills. You use those skills. Stupidity, which of course is the opposite of intelligence, has to be an inability and a lacking capacity to gain nor use information, knowledge, wisdom, and skills. Synonyms of stupidity include ignorant, dense, dull witted, vapid, ludicrous, and unwise. I like the one vapid. I added that one in there deliberately just to keep our synapses updated, right? To keep the information, the new information flowing and keep it coming in. And then it can flow out too, right? But this definition, I like everything about this definition. I like everything about these words, and I agree with them, right? And to my opinion, based on this definition, right, getting the information, getting the knowledge, and then being able to apply the skills accurately and correctly to achieve a particular and desired outcome. And I'm assuming that your desired outcome is a successful life. If you think in your mind that you're going to get into a relationship with a counterpart, build a successful family, build a successful life, I would like you to observe the divorce statistics. Just observe them. If you are thinking that you are going to pull this off, I'm telling you, you're not. You are at 80% failure in 10 years. Guaranteed, right? And you're not making, it's 80% in 8 years. I beg your pardon. You're not making 10 years. You're not making 10 years. You haven't heard not of one single person who's been married for 25 years. Not in a very, very long time. You're telling me that there was somebody that was married in the year 2000 that's still married today? No way. No way. I haven't heard of not a single person. Not a single person that's been under those circumstances, right? I've heard of many more divorces than I have successful situations and relationships and even marriages, right? So I'd like you to take a look at those statistics for yourself and think about those, right? My opinion, dating and being in a relationship is not a sign of intelligence, nor is it what intelligent people do. Simply because you go in there with a particular goal and a particular aim to achieve a particular outcome, and then nobody achieves that outcome. Nobody's achieving that outcome. Everyone is just achieving failure. Now, I could go on and on about what happens in relationships, but I think there are enough people doing that. And I could describe the horrors of child raising and trying to be a parent and parent burnout, the devastation of divorce, alimony, lawyer fees, and on and on and on and on. But you already know all this. It's everywhere, it's easily available, it's easily accessible, and you know as well as I do, all the information out there is true. Scientists have done studies, governments have provided statistics, corporations have invested in that research and those statistics, and they've invested based on that research and those statistics. Vloggers and influencers and content creators have made endless content on the failures and the catastrophe and the nature of relationships. Not only that, personal testimonies. People have come out with personal testimonies and told you how each and every one of their relationships has failed and ended in catastrophe. Not only that, they were lied to, they were deceived, it was expensive, and they ended up nowhere with nothing. All because they invested into a relationship. This is for both men and women. This is an invention that fails way more than it succeeds. And yet, what have you done with all that knowledge? Where have you applied all those skills? Where has that information gotten you? Currently, if you add it up, we are watching almost 1 billion years worth of content every year. 1 billion years worth of content is being consumed every year. You know, uh, testimonials, experiences, and what have you. You know, all kinds of information. And what have you done with all that knowledge and information? What have you changed? What have you done with those updated synapses and changed to better yourself, to better your life, and better your situation? Nothing. I know the answer. You don't have to start rambling telling me about your degree. In reality, you've changed nothing. I'm talking about relationships. Don't spew and start telling me how you started a company and you have a degree and all kinds of things. When you are on your fourth year of child support and you're looking at 8 to go. No, man. No, no, no. We're talking about you and the decisions you've made in your relationship and in your dating life. And I'll tell you what I did. I'll tell you what I did. You see, I got myself up after having assessed all the information that I gathered, all of the details, the numbers, the statistics, the facts, the economics, the psychology of it. And I went to a fertility clinic and I went and visited them 8 individual times at least and deposited and stored for long-term basis 1 billion sperm. I went ahead and froze 1 billion sperm. Then I went and turned the hell around and went to a licensed, skilled specialist, an experienced urologist, and I got myself a vasectomy. I took all the information that I gathered and resolved all my concerns in one move, and that move has only 2 steps to it. Freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy, then go and date. Then go back to the romance wars. Now, others will tell you to do similar things. They'll tell you to improve your life, get your money up, get your education, get your mental health, start a business, make sure it's successful, put yourself in the top 1%, get your muscles, exercise, run, lose weight. Then get back into the romance wars. And I'm telling you, you do that, they are going to rip you apart. They'll spend all your money. They'll keep you up all night. And it's too easy. If your best bet is money, they'll sue you and take your money. If you are trying to get healthy, they'll just keep you up all night and make you eat restaurant food and takeaways. Right? If you, whatever you're trying to do, they'll find the opposite to it. And it's really not that difficult to do. If you're trying to build a business, they'll distract you. Right? And just keep you, busy. If you're trying to get a degree, they'll make you go party all night. If you're trying to beat addiction, they'll just keep reintroducing you to new people. And what they'll do is they'll bring new people that have your old addiction and keep you on the hook. All right? It's too easy to beat those things. Go to the gym, get your mental health. Mental health is so easy to beat. All they do is irritate you and annoy you and start problems that aren't. They start issues that aren't really problems and treat those issues like a problem. And when you ignore them, then you become the problem. And now you're stressed and your mental health is out the window. It's too easy to beat those things. Every single one of those things, I've just given you a way to beat them. And as for your finances, all they do is make you buy food and drinks, and eventually you'll go broke. And you'll think, oh man, how could I go broke over a piece of chicken? Because you're paying $100 for a piece of chicken. That's why you're going broke. When you should be getting 100 pieces of chicken for $100. I don't know how much chicken costs, right? Whatever the price of chicken is, that's what you should be paying. But you're paying 100 times more for it. And you're wondering why your budget doesn't work out when all you've had is a piece of chicken. Numbers don't lie. The numbers are not going to lie to you. You can lie to yourself, but the numbers, they'll stand fast, right? Ask yourself now, I have my two-step solution, right? The rule of two: freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy, and then date. I know you're going to date. I know you're going to date. I'm saying just date under these circumstances. I don't care how rich you are, right? That will come. That will come. But first, freeze your sperm and then get a vasectomy, right? And I ask myself, but what about you? What would you do? You who haven't got your vasectomy yet, you know, what what really is your plan? Or do you even have one? Right? What intelligent way forward do you have? Because some of you have not yet come to realize the full truth. And I say it in almost every video. The winning move is not to play the game. The winning move is simply not to play the game. To play is to lose. To play is to lose, even one time. Even one time. And we have to say this. So when you go in there, you don't go in there expecting some type of victory. You don't go into a relationship expecting to build or to grow or to get anything. Right? And this is the cause of your disappointment right here. Because you have not come to realize the full scope and magnitude of the failures that you will incur should you dive deeper into these muddy waters, right into the dark dimensions. You cannot understand how deep and for how long those failures will run. Not only that, how guaranteed those failures are. I'm going to repeat these statistics over and over. 99% of men are going to have children, and over 95% are going to get married in this life, on this timeline, according to this trajectory. Either you get married, or you have kids, or you do both. This is unavoidable, and these are the things that are going to cause you the most pain. If you get married, divorce is inevitable. Divorce is just, breakups are inevitable. You have a child with someone, you're going to break up, you're going to be on child support. You get married, you're going to divorce, you're going to be put on alimony. You do both, you're going to get you have a child and get married and then get divorced, child support, alimony. Right? House, car, alimony, retirement savings, all gone, investments, assets, company, all ripped apart. And all gone to a counterpart who, let's be honest, you met her outside of a nightclub toilet. She was drunk as a sailor, and so were you. Right? You were out of your mind and you went ahead and just got with a counterpart under the worst kind of circumstances. You met her in the worst circumstances. She met you in the worst circumstances. And that's how your love blossomed? Outside of a stinking toilet? If you had the knowledge, information, and skills, if you had the intelligence that would help you to avoid all the calamities that I've just described, from the dark dimension, from legal matrimony, the consequences of legal matrimony and the dark dimension. If you could avoid this calamity, would you still approach that drunk, intoxicated stranger, that unknown entity outside that nasty, stinky bathroom? Would you really do that? I think many of you still would, because you'd be intoxicated, drunk yourself. So yeah, you'd probably do that. You'd probably think, hey, we share a lot in common. And what would be the intelligent thing to do under these circumstances? Right? Knowing what you know, based on all the information that you received online, digitally, and statistically, governments, corporations, scientists, all the information that's been given to you, right? What do you think the intelligent thing to do would actually be? What exactly, you have to ask yourself, is the purpose of all of that? All this dating, checking her phone, who are you talking to, where were you, share your location, why are you not calling me, why are you not texting me back, text me back? Is that intelligent? Is that what intelligent people do? Do you know this guy? Where do you know him from? Oh, he's my play cousin from out of town. We went to high school together. He's the Phantom Menace. That's who he is. And he's here to cause nothing but chaos and disruption and then disappear into a dark void of deception. That's what I would do. But is this smart? And I mean, don't even get me started on pay for play. I haven't even touched the issue of pay for play. 30 years is what you get. The maximum sentence they'll give you for pay for play is 30 years. And they give you this for soliciting a minor. Soliciting a minor. In other words, getting into a relationship with or without financial gain with a minor. What you guys call relationships, the law does not recognize. There is nowhere in the law where it recognizes dating and relationships. The law calls it solicitation. And if you solicitate a woman who's not a minor or somebody who is an adult, you get 25 years. You get 25 years. Listen to me very carefully. They will put you in prison for 30 years. You think losing your career is the worst thing that can happen to you when they put you inside that jail cell for 30 years for solicitation and pay for play. It's gonna be the worst single thing that could ever happen to any human being. And they're gonna do that to you. How is pay for play intelligent? I mean, we already discussed relationships, you know? Let me give you some advice for you panderers, you pay for pay panderers. If you cannot afford the case, if you cannot afford the lawyer, the litigation, if you cannot beat that charge, if you don't have the monies saved up, I mean in cash money, paper money, money, legal tender, used to pay government taxes, not investments, not Bitcoin, and definitely not a credit card. Oh, you forget that credit card. I'm saying that cash money. To beat that charge, the last guy that beat it, he paid 23 million. The last guy that we know that beat that charge, he paid 23 million. He bent that knee because it was either this or 30 years. He paid $1 million a year. He's paying $1 million a year to stay out of prison. You might say, oh, he paid her $23 million. No. He didn't pay her $23 million. He paid $1 million a year for his freedom. That is the cost. And I'm saying to you, my friend, do you have 25 to 30 million dollars? Because that is what you will pay to stay out of prison. And that's a maybe. Some of these counterparts, they want to go all the way. There's no amount of money. They'll take the money and still put you away. If you cannot beat that case, if you cannot fight the case and beat that charge, you shouldn't be taking the risk. If you cannot beat a drug charge, you shouldn't be peddling those drugs. If you cannot beat a possession charge, if you cannot beat a trafficking charge, if you cannot beat a dealing charge, if you cannot beat pandering, buying, selling, being a pay for play proprietor, a pay for play provider, or a pay for play panderers, you shouldn't be taking that risk. This is my advice. You got that money? Go ahead. I'm telling you, it's not worth it. It's illegal. It's illegal. It's illegal. The very least you can do is go find out where you are, wherever you are in the world, find out what the law says about this and then respond accordingly. Make an informed decision. Find out what the law says and don't put your personal feelings into it. Look at what the law says and respond. Don't make it personal. Don't make it personal. You're not winning nothing, I'm telling you. I understand all of the benefits. It's efficient, it's fast, it's headache free, it's consequence free. You use protection. Yes, you're a gentleman. Yes, you're doing all those right things. Good luck explaining all of that to the judge. You go ahead and tell the judge that you were being a gentleman the whole time while you were soliciting and pandering. I hope it works. Because the last guy, he said the parents brought the girls and the judge couldn't care less. So the very least you could do is find out what the law says or go to a place where the law allows it. Go to a place where it's legal and decriminalized. Go there 10 times a month if you have to. But don't break the law, because they'll catch you. They'll catch you. And when they do, the consequence is not a breakup. It is 30 years in prison. You don't believe me? I did a whole video about it. 30 years in prison. Every time I think about it, man, this is a 15-minute job. I could be in and out in no time. 15 minutes is going to cost you 30 years. $250 is going to cost you 30 years. I'm not going to say nothing more about that. Those numbers don't add up. But as we read today's edification about intelligence, think about your own situation and ask yourself, is what you are doing, is that really the smart thing? So here it is, today's article, 10 Signs of Intelligent People According to Psychology. This comes from a place called Psychologs magazine. I've never actually read it. The website is www.psychologs.com, but we are going to read it today. And this particular article was published on the 26th of December, 2023. There is the direct link to the full article itself if you are interested, but we will read it together right now. It begins by saying intelligence far beyond the confines of traditional IQ assessments embodies a multifaceted tapestry of abilities that extend beyond mere cognitive processes. It includes many traits such as the capacity for reasoning, memory, and problem solving. True intelligence, however, crosses these boundaries and includes emotional intelligence, creativity, and flexibility in handling challenges of daily life. I don't know so much about that. Emotional and intelligence are a contradiction. Intelligence, we've already defined it using skills, knowledge, information to get the desired outcomes. Skills, knowledge, and information, facts and statistics, things that are real. Emotional, on the other hand, are things like happy, sad, right? Depressed, anxious, shy, right? Anger, frustration. How can these things be associated with intelligence? To me, being emotional is the absence of intelligence, and being intelligent, quite frankly, coincides with the absence of being emotional. This is an oxymoron and a contradiction. And in my opinion, a contradiction is always a lie. An element of creativity and flexibility, I will agree. I think I'm quite flexible in terms of whenever I receive new information, I'm always trying to think of myself as a person who updates their synapses. So whenever I receive new information, I'm going to update myself to the point where I just got to realize that, this whole relationship thing is a mess. You're wasting your time. You're going to spend years and years doing this over and over and over and over and over again and still failing one after the other. And how much money have you spent on this nonsense? The trips alone, I don't even want to tell you. Knowing people from different backgrounds, it continues to say, is important for identifying intelligence since they may have differing experiences with standardized test formats, which could conceal their true intellectual prowess. So now they're criticizing IQ tests. But yeah, IQ tests don't cover everything, but the thing with IQ tests I find is that people who have difficulty with reading and understanding the written word may struggle with IQ tests. So you might find that giving them a practical test, they will perform well, and then maybe even giving them the same test verbally, they may perform better than just having them sit down and look at a screen full of words the way that I do. However, this indicates also a limited capacity in terms of intelligence. You should be able to overcome words just as well as you are able to overcome a puzzle or a verbal assessment. This being unable to deal with written words in a long format like this is an indication of a lack of one type of capacity. And I'm telling you right now, there are many things that you want to miss out on. Like, it's okay, you can live without being able to change an engine, right? Or to change the oil in the engine. I don't know what people do in engines. I really could care less, right? Most supercars that you actually want to drive, they won't even let you touch the engine. Like, you'll open the engine and it'll look like just a blank black metal sheet covering it. Yes, you'll be able to see the different parts, but for the majority of it, you won't be able to access it. They don't want you to access their engine, you know? So if you're missing out on learning the written word and improving your reading and improving your cognitive skills, you're really doing yourself a big disservice. You're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities like the one that I'm presenting right here, right? Just coming out, reading this information and assessing it, as well as real life opportunities, contracts, businesses, legal matters, that kind of thing. All this stuff comes in written words. All the stuff comes in written words. So if you think that you can get by, Mr. Oh, I don't need a university degree, oh, you are wrong. Because people like myself who spend years mastering the words, we are just going to give you a 20-page document that we know you're not going to read. And if you hit me with a 20-page document, I'll be back in 30 minutes with corrections. That's the difference. You look at that 20-page legal document and it'll frustrate you. You won't be able to go through it in a month. I will tear through that 1 page a minute. Not only that, I'll be making corrections and I'll tell you, hey, you mispronounced this, you misspelled this word, and that's not how you use that. I'm not the one to play with. You throw a contract at me, I'll stand there and be like, give me 20 minutes. And I'll come back and then we can discuss it. Like, it's not a problem. But if you are not academically inclined or inclined to read, you need to get on that. There's just no way around this, right? It continues to say studies show that those with conditions like autism may possess intelligence that surpass standard test scores demonstrating the complex and multifaceted character of human cognitive abilities. I don't know anything about autism, to be honest with you, enough to agree or disagree, but that's what they say. Moreover, intelligence resists easy measurements. Intelligence resists easy measurements. Perhaps. Different types of intelligence include, so we consider intelligence as one element of our adaptive ability, but Howard Gardner, a professor at Harvard University, told us that there are various types of intelligence and different people are good at different abilities. They wrote Frames of Mind. Intelligence is of 8 types, and each type represents different ways of how a person best possesses information. So they say there's different types of there's different types of intelligence, right? They say 8 types, but I count 9 at the bottom of the list here. Let's look at what those are. Spatial intelligence, body kinetic intelligence. Does that mean like athletes and martial arts people, right? Musical intelligence, okay, so you can perform music and sing. Linguistic intelligence, people who speak well and are great orators and that kind of thing. Logical, mathematical intelligence, I think that's self defining. Interpersonal intelligence. I don't know what that means. You know what? I might just do a video on the different types of intelligence, just so we can define each one and understand where we fit. For instance, I know that I have no musical intelligence. Like I enjoy music. I really, really enjoy music. As much as the next person. But it's like my pizza analogy, right? Just because I like eating pizza doesn't mean I should be running a pizza restaurant. Right? The two things are not correlated. So while I enjoy music, I don't think I'd enjoy making music. There's people who can just listen to the same thing again and again and again for 12 hours at a time until they get it just right. No, no, I don't think so. I mean, I try to cover as many different topics as I can. I'm not inclined to cover the same topic twice. I'll repeat the same phrase again, freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy, but am I really going to read the same article for 12 hours again and again and again and again until I get it right? Sometimes it's days. Sometimes these people who spend days working on a beat or days writing out lyrics. I don't know about all that. But maybe we'll have a look at each one of these. This looks like a very interesting thing to look into. Then we have what they call intrapersonal intelligence. So you have interpersonal and intrapersonal. I wonder what the difference is there. Okay, now I'm curious enough to know that I'll probably talk about this in the near future. Then you have naturalistic intelligence, that I have no idea what that is, and existential intelligence, like life skills. Like, is that what they call street smarts? Like existential, like you learn it based on your existence? This is very interesting stuff. Now I'm intrigued. Now they have my curiosity sparked. So here they are. Now remember, we're still discussing your relationships and whether the relationships are the thing to do, right? Is it smart to be in these relationships? So 10 signs that intelligent people possess. Number 1, a pleasant attitude and they are hardworking. Now, does this sound like the counterpart to you? A pleasant attitude and they are hardworking in their relationships? I think not. At work, perhaps, but not in relationships. I've seen videos of these people. You people are recording these counterparts' madness because there's so much to record. But number 1, it says intelligent people tend to have a positive attitude towards different aspects of their life, including personal, social, and professional life. Including personal, social, and professional life. I have a very positive attitude towards, I think, all of this. As long as I'm not interacting with these counterparts, really, I've had enough of these people. I really cannot tell you how much I've had enough of these people. I can't even hear them speak. Sometimes I'll watch a review video and the counterpart will start talking and I'll mute them, let them finish, and then unmute the video so I can hear what the person thinks about what the counterpart said without actually listening to what the counterpart says. Their words mean nothing to me. But yes, I believe that I have a very positive attitude to life, believe it or not. I did have a vasectomy after all. I'm free, I'm liberated, I'm worry free, you know what I mean? So I have self control, self determination. I'm really, I think, a positive person, but I don't think that I get that positivity from the counterpart. Man, these people drain me. These people, it says, are open to learning, feedback, and criticism, and have a very hard working, when hard work is required. I'm pretty sure I read that correctly. But yes, I'd like to think of myself as hardworking. I do like to learn. Um, I'm not so good at receiving feedback and criticism. I think I'm the kind of person who, if you criticize something that I've done, I'm going to demand that you demonstrate that you can do it better under the same circumstances. Right now, I've had a situation where somebody did do it better, but I found that, those circumstances were not entirely the same, right? The person wasn't dealing with the disadvantages that I had dealt with, and he was walking into a situation where, quite frankly, I had dealt with many of the disadvantages. So they were then able to perform what seemed like a miraculous feat and then return to their own section, and it all collapsed. So it's one thing, you walk into a situation and I say, "Can you do it better?" And you say, "Yes, I can." Right, and then the entire group of misfits has been well drilled, and all you do is run my drills with my team and say, "Well, see, I can run that drill." And it's like, no, 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 run your own drills. And it's like, no, 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 I run my drills in a different way, you know but I've had that kind of situation where somebody did it and did it better, and I still criticize them. So yeah, I'm not good with all that. Apart from that, these people are always ready for self growth. That's all. That's me, 110%. And they tend to develop in different areas without caring about appreciation. Yeah, I'm not really one for being appreciated. Really, I don't need applause for anything. That's why I don't have my face on the internet. I'm just here for the information. Really, I'm just here for the information. I could care less, man. I could walk into a crowd of people, with a ton of subscribers, and really, I just want the peace of mind, right? I'm not here for the recognition, right? But yeah, counterparts, they love that recognition, right? It's not just about what they think of themselves, they want to know what you think of themselves. And then it says here, these people tend to approach all the challenges of their lives positively and think of them as a reason for change to grow. Does that sound like your relationship? Something that is going to change and grow positively? Because you're headed to divorce court and then child support court. That's where you're headed, and you're going to need two different lawyers for each. Number two, precise and credible decision making. Intelligent people are very well known for their decision making skills based on the strong intuition that they have. I'd like to think that I have good decision making skills in terms of the outcomes that I'm able to receive from time to time. I'd like to make that. I'd like to think that generally I make good decision skills. I have good decision skills, and I have good decision making capacity. Um, but it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I live a stable life. I have a fair amount of savings. in actual cash money, you know, a couple of assets here and there. Don't really like the stocks and the bonds. Those things don't pay the way that you think they're going to pay. Some of them don't pay at all. You have to sell them to get them to pay you. And then the taxes, oh, just you wait for the taxes, right? But I'd like to think that I've made some fairly good decisions compared to other people who have no savings at all. Like just on the savings alone. Just on the savings alone. If you have a ton of debt and no savings, or if your debt is equal to your savings, then I think I'm doing all right in terms of decision making ability. It is very easy for an intelligent person to differentiate between the pros and cons of any decisions that they have to make. They are capable of analyzing the results quickly, accurately, and based on realistic outcomes, considering various perspectives before concluding. Let's apply this to relationships. Let's apply this to relationships, right? Have you analyzed the results of what you're doing? Being intimate, getting people pregnant, getting married, dating. Have you analyzed the results? In other words, keep the end in mind accurately and based on realistic outcomes, considering various perspectives before making a conclusion. So, before dating that person, before getting married, have you considered the law, the economics, the statistics, the truth? For me, I'm going to say it's a 99% no. 99% of men are not being accurate or realistic, and they are not considering various perspectives when it comes to dating, when it comes to getting married, and when it comes to being intimate with these counterparts. 99% of you are going to have kids, 90 over 95 are going to get married, and then about 98 are going to do both, a mix of both. And I'm just going to land on 98%. 98% are going to get married, have kids, or do both, and then get divorced, right? So, is this intelligent? Is this the smart thing that you're doing, right? Let's think about pay for play, right? Have you analyzed the results of pay for play accurately and based on legal and realistic outcomes, based on the perspective of various people before you go and interact? Have you really analyzed this? Because if you do, you're going to quickly find out that it's illegal, and then you proceed. You know it's illegal, and then you proceed. That's why they give you 30 years, because you knew it was illegal. And then you did it anyway, and then you induced other people to do it. Those are three very different crimes. They give you 10 years for each of those, you know? So, that's how you got to make your decisions. You got to be realistic. You got to look at very different outcomes, various perspectives and points of views. And then you have to be accurate. You have to say, this is the real outcome and the consequences of my actions. And I'm telling you, you're all going to jail. You are going to jail, and I won't be feeling sorry for you. Because I told you, get a vasectomy, protect yourself, and then go back into the romance wars if you must. But if you're going to have to break the law to do it, I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that. Listen, I'm all about, doing your own thing, standing your own ground. But you're just one man, you know? You're just one bachelor. It won't take much to subdue you. 3 cops will take you down, you know? 3 cops will take you down. They'll need 1 car to bring you in, not even a car, man. They could bring you in on a motorcycle if they chose to. It's not gonna be a difficult thing. It's a very simple thing. So make the right decision, make the intelligent decision, be smart. Says here, a strong sense of self-control. I'd like to think I have a strong sense of self-control. The idea of self-control includes the idea of a sense of self that intelligent people have, or highly aware of themselves. Intelligent people are highly disciplined and able to self regulate in managing emotions, impulses, and behaviors. I think I'm okay with this for the most part, except when I lose patience with the counterpart. Then all I do is just get up, walk away, and never speak to that person again. Right? I'm not like gonna be aggressive or violent or harass that person. All those things are illegal, by the way. Guys, let's just talk about the law. All of our interactions are based on the law. The first thing we must consider in each and every interaction is this interaction legal? What does the Constitution say? Because the final consequence of this action is going to be ended there. And I say the word ended because you are going to continue until it ends. And where it ends is the court of law. So all our interactions have to be. So all our interactions have to start by answering the question, is it legal? And if it is legal, then of course you can proceed with absolute confidence. But if it isn't, then you need to be able to control. You need to be able to self-regulate, managing your emotions, managing your impulses, and managing your behaviors so you can proceed with absolute confidence. It says self control is a sign that a person is mature and in intelligent people. The quality of self control is commonly seen. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Being able, I preach self control all the time. It's all about self control. You really have no power of controlling other people. You can only control yourself. Your real power lies in self control. And any measure of success or failure that you're going to have is going to be determined by whether you can control yourself or you are going to allow other people to control you. These people are not impulsive and are calm to any sense of discomfort, allowing themselves to solve the problem with focus and rationality to reduce the discomfort quickly. I find that being emotional is very frustrating for me, if I have to be quite honest to you. I find that I'm burning a lot of energy and achieving nothing, right? So when I do what they describe here, solving problems with focus, rationality, to reduce the discomfort, or whatever issue the problem presents, and to reduce that problem quickly. I find that I'm able to do so when I'm looking at a problem rationally. Even an economic problem, I can look at it and say, okay, this is what the numbers are saying to me. I am earning this much. How do I overcome these numbers based on what I can do realistically? I can tackle this problem with this amount of numbers and it's going to take me X amount of time. So if I need to pay $12,000 a year, I know I can do that by paying $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month, $1,000 a month for a year, $2,000 a month for 6 months, $3,000 a month or $3.35 a month for 3 months. And then I can respond accordingly. If my target is to pay it off in a year, I'm usually the kind of person that can get it done in 8 to 10 months based on my set of circumstances. So if I know I can afford $1,000 a month, eventually I will build a budget and a system that's going to bring that down, or that's going to bring me my payment up to like, 1,200, right? 1,300. I'll be able to find that extra money somehow, right? With control and rationality. But if I'm being emotional about it, I won't be able to put those numbers together, and it could take forever to resolve a problem, right? This sense of self-control is high in highly intelligent people, makes them highly resilient to distress as well. Indeed, indeed it does. Yes, yes. Self control really, really means a lot to me in my philosophy. It's what the whole philosophy is about. High emotional intelligence, right? We already talked about emotional intelligence. This is a contradiction. Along with logical intelligence, intelligent people tend to have a better understanding of emotions and decisions to connect with others, showing compassion and empathy. Is that me? Am I empathetic? I'm always telling you how I don't feel sorry for you and your decisions. That's not very compassionate. But at work, I'm very compassionate. I'm very understanding to a limited capacity. If you can, I'm the kind of leader who, if you come to me and tell me on Monday that you're anticipating a problem on Friday and you may need some time, I may be inclined to grant you that time off of work, come in late, leave early, that kind of thing, because I can anticipate it. But if you come in, if you call me 5 minutes before work and you're telling me that there's a problem, you can't make it, and and off you go, clucking like a chicken, panicking, I'm not gonna appreciate that. I'm gonna tell you, come to work and tell me to my face. Now you have to decide, are you gonna come to work late and face the music, or are you gonna take the day off and get a written warning? But I am understanding, but I'm not gonna let some kid inconvenience me and my business endeavors. Really, I'm not. Like, if you're gonna not be at work, or it has to be a really good reason. You have to come back on Monday with a cast, or like the next day, whenever you come back, you have to have a cast or a neck brace or something. Even if it's not real, but you gotta put on a really good performance. It's as such people, or not, only able to help others manage their emotions, but are capable of identifying and managing their own emotions as well. Um, let's just stick to the work, all right? That way we don't have to get emotional. A high level of emotional intelligence is not only important for personal settings, but proves to be helpful in professional relationships too. Now, this nonsense is perfect for relationships. This nonsense is perfect for relationships. It's confused, it's complicated, doesn't make sense. It's defined, but it's not defined. The definition kind of contradicts itself, but it sounds like the nice thing to say. It's perfect for relationships. And I don't think an indication of intelligence. Number five is analytical thinking. Um, have you analyzed your relationship properly? If you had, you'd come to realize, as I have, that it's going to fail. I think that everything here, other than number four, is an indication or is a mark against relationships. People with high IQs show analytical thinking and attention to detail. Yes, I am a person who likes the details. So, when things start to shift and change and move around, and suddenly I can't find my things, that means that somebody moved them, right? Things don't move themselves. So, when I've assessed the details of relationships and the details of the counterpart, um, I'm inclined to not participate, right? But some people, you might feel like you want to do it. Intelligent people are highly capable of thinking out of the box, making them creative and adaptable and versatile. Are you creative, adaptable, and versatile? You know your relationship is going to fail. And if it isn't going to fail, you're going to be miserable in it, right? How have you adapted to that, right? What have you changed to overcome that? Just go freeze your sperm and get a vasectomy. That's what creative, adaptable, and versatile analytical thinking is to me. According to psychologists Getzel and Jackson, intelligent people may or may not have creativity according to their level of intelligence, but it is widely acceptable that they present analytical and critical thinking skills. Indeed, People who can assess a situation and get to the outcome quickly, effectively, and in a tangible and permanent way, to me, that sounds like very intelligent. But if we have to apply analytical, critical thinking to relationships, would you then come to the conclusion that a relationship is an intelligent thing? Go hitting on a stranger and bringing that person into your life, and now suddenly there you are with a pregnant niece and a nephew that's going to prison, and there you're sitting there thinking to yourself, I don't even understand what is going on with you or you, the niece or the nephew. But here I am having to empathize with a pregnant niece and a nephew that's going to prison. How? How? I mean, what about me that we have learned together, that we can assess about each other, indicates that I would share anything with a criminal delinquent? A criminal delinquent, or one here who has no capacity for self control. Either way, this is not me. This is not me. Number six, curious and open to new experiences. Sure, sure. Now, this might be up to relationships. So perhaps this is the type of intelligent that you are. You are curious and open to new experiences, and therefore you keep going from one relationship to the next relationship. But are you finding a new experience in that relationship, or are you just encountering the same old problems? Do you end up fighting about money, about fighting about her friends, fighting about who she's going out with, fighting about how much of your money she's spending and how much you're not getting, right? Is she calling you broke all the time? Is she calling you out your name? Is she disrespectful? Are you disrespectful to her? Is that a new experience to you, or does that sound like the same old thing over and over again? If you freeze your sperm and you get a vasectomy, I assure you it will quench your curiosity and open you up to brand new experiences. Intelligent people engage in conversations that build up their passions. Get a vasectomy, and they usually ask questions like who, what, when, where, how, and what if you got a vasectomy. I think I answer those questions almost every day, right? But in a relationship, you ask who's that? What are you doing? When did you meet them? How do you know them? Where are you going? What if this happens and what? Those problems, I mean, those questions are a problem in a relationship. But you bring those questions over to a vasectomy, and I would happily answer all those questions. Who? The urologist. What? Freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy. When? Now. Where? In the office. Or you can get a theater in the operating room. And what if something goes bad? Nothing will go bad. These are professionals. See? Done and dusted. That's how we do it. That's how we do it over here at the vasectomy life. Such people have a natural curiosity and a thirst for knowledge. That sounds just like me. That's me all over. I want to know everything. And I don't even take my information from the counterparts. I go straight to the statistics and I look at how much intimacy you've been having, which is a lot. Not as much as you should, but it's better than nothing, right? Thousands and thousands of times over a decade, right? I'm looking at the marriage statistics. I'm looking at the dating statistics. I'm looking at how many people have children and how many get married. And I'm like, I'm getting a vasectomy. I'm not falling for this trap. No, 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 not for a single moment. Um, it says here they are eager to learn about different areas of life, including people, culture, animals, history, and the world. Intelligent people recognize that others have information and insights that they can share, which will help them grow, expand their wisdom, and enhance their intellect. Yes, we are thieves of information. I really love the internet in terms of its capacity to provide correct information. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's just not right about the internet. But if you are looking for accurate information, the internet will give that to you. Books and other things were very, very good. And I came from a time where, we got a lot of information from books, and I still love books. But the problem is with books is that it's only limited to a few hundred pages, right? Like 35, 40,000 words. Which sounds like a lot, but it's only just a few hundred, maybe 350 pages. And that's nothing compared to the internet. You could tear through 300 pages in like 3 or 4, maybe 5 days if you're a fast reader, right? You could go through that in no time at all. But the information on the internet is just infinite. It's just infinite, and it just keeps coming. I love everything about it. I really do. It really quenches my curiosity, but I want specific information. Like, I want to know the numbers, right? And then put those numbers together and see where they go. And it was doing a ton of research that led me to get to freezing my sperm and getting a vasectomy. Where most people will either just freeze the sperm or they'll just get the vasectomy. But not many people are doing both. I don't know anybody that's done both, right? And this is really about new experiences, learning about different areas of life, health sciences and other things, economics. And we are growing, and we are expanding our wisdom and enhancing our intellects and updating our synapses. So this is our last slide. It says number 7, highly adaptable, right? So intelligent people are highly adaptable. In your relationship, the person that you're in a relationship with, are they highly adaptable, or are you just doing the same old same again? And then if you change, do they accuse you, right? Adaptability is a one unit quality and a key component of intelligence. It is the ability to adjust to new situations and changing events, right? So you can adapt, right? Adjust to new situations and changing events. Intelligent people can easily adjust to new situations, environment, and challenges, showcasing flexibility and resilience. I agree. In facing drivers, circumstances, it is also an ability to balance consistency and flexibility, knowing when to stick to their routine and embrace new opportunities. I was just about to say that there's a limit to flexibility, right? So there's things that you want to have like in your routine, like you want to exercise, you want to work, you want to be healthy, and then there's things that you want to be flexible with. You might want to try a channel or other things, right? In order to grow your skills and your expertise. But if you try to grow in a relationship, right? Do you find that when you try to grow and adapt to new challenges, when you want to showcase flexibility and resilience, do you find that your counterpart is supportive, or they just holding you, trying to keep you pigeonholed, right, in a cage, right? Do you find, especially for counterparts, they find that knee benders can be very controlling, right? So if you are being controlled in a relationship, cannot showcase your flexibility, your resilience, facing challenges, and your adaptability, is that intelligent? I would say no. I think that this article is proving very much that intelligence and relationships don't really go together for the most part. Skeptical is number 8. Apart from being open minded, intelligent people tend to question everything critically. I think that's supposed to be thing, not think. Critically evaluating information and ideas rather than accepting them blindly, which helps in informing, I beg your pardon, which helps informing well-formed opinions. He's informed there. So yes, skepticism. Skepticism, I agree, is a great sign of intelligence, right? So you look at a person, but it's also a sign of relationships. Like I'm always skeptical about counterparts, their intentions and what they do behind your back and all kinds of things, right? So if you're skeptical about your partner, then that probably means you are intelligent. Now listen to that. Most of the things on this list have gone the other way, demonstrating that relationships are not intelligent, right? The only part of relationships that is intelligent is the skepticism. Just think about that, right? Like if you just if you think that things are going well and you are skeptical and you have a reason to be skeptical, that means things aren't going well. And if you're skeptical, you're probably right. This is very interesting. This is very interesting. The ability to be skeptical allows them to understand all the knowledge they are acquiring, along with the with developing their perspective by questioning, analyzing all the information. So, yes, I don't really want to discuss this point. I want to discuss what's in my head. Skepticism is really for me the most consistent, I would say, feeling I have when it comes to relationships, right? I'm skeptical of people that I'm in relationships with. I'm paranoid all the time. And then I'm skeptical of people that are in relationships because I know you're a liar, man. I know for you to make that relationship work, both of you have to be lying. And somebody discovered a lie, and it's just been pandemonium, right? So you would be wise to be, even if you are optimistic about relationships, you would be wise to be skeptical about these things. You really would be, right? It's just the intelligent thing to do. Think of how you met that person, man, where you met them, what they were doing. The person that you marry, you don't even know who they were before you married them. Not really. You don't really know. You just know how you met them, and suddenly, the moment everything changed. But before that, you don't really know what was going on. So you need to be skeptical. Number nine is observation. Yes, I make a lot of observations. So I will look at what people do and then say, you know what? I don't want that. You know what I mean? I don't want that. I saw the guy get 30 years for pay for play. I don't need those problems. I saw a guy take it put through the ringer through divorce, alimony, child support, and I said, I don't need those problems. I really don't need those problems. I'm not doing 30 years for no counterpart. No way. No way. Under no circumstances. And if you got somebody that's discussing play for play with you, and they don't bring up 30 years, then they're not discussing the full game. You're not getting the whole game, man. You're getting the prices, you're getting the phone numbers, you're getting the connection. You're getting the pay for play provider, the pay for play proprietor, and there you are, the panderer, finishing the circle, right? Completing the circle of deception. If none of these people are telling you, hey, we could get 30 years. You know what I mean? You could get 25, you could get 25, I could get 30 for this. You're not having the full discussion, man. You're talking about it's like talking about planning a holiday and all the cool things that you're gonna do, and never once talking about how you're gonna pay for it. You wanna fly to Asia and travel from Mongolia to Singapore, right? Taking buses, planes, trains, motorcycles, all kinds of things, but never talking about how you're going to pay for that and where you're going to stay and how you're going to support yourself while you're doing that. You're not having the real conversation. You're really not having the real conversation. Observation is one of the important skills of highly intelligent people for process. I beg your pardon. To process large information. This is what we're here. We're here to process large information. Noticing even the small details. That's what it's about. When you're observing a person, you have to make note of the small details and not let them go. So if you say, "Can I see your phone?" and they say no, you need to be suspicious. If you say, "Can I see your phone?" and they are quick to hand it over, you need to be suspicious, right? If you like, "Can I see your phone?" and they have a phone, you need to be suspicious. If they don't have a phone, you need to be really suspicious, right? You need to be watching out for small details in these relationships. And that's the problem. Because people work so hard to be so sinister and devious, right? And deceptive, that now you're just trying to find the smallest little thing to see if there's a problem. It says highly intelligent people were easily able to identify the errors and inconsistency that others may miss, making it a valuable contribution to the team or project. There you go. Identifying the errors and inconsistencies that may exist. And what you're going to find is errors and inconsistencies with the counterparts. And you overlook that. Whereas they're telling you that identifying those errors and inconsistencies, that's what intelligence is. Overlooking those is unintelligent. Understanding that relationships are a failed technology. Marriage is a failed technology. There is a promise that they're making you, and then there are tremendous errors and tremendous inconsistencies in what they're telling you. And you haven't missed them. Now, it's one thing if you miss them, but you know about them. And now, for you to ignore them, it's more than just unintelligent, it's delusion. For intelligent people, there is no rush in comprehending the task. Rather, they choose to analyze and understand their surroundings to make a well informed decision. This is me all over, right? There is no rush for me to complete this information. Now, at work, it's all about task accomplishment. We got to do the task. We got to be productive at the right time so we can move on, so we can keep the reels turning, so we can do the right thing, right? So everybody can be successful. Because I know I want to be successful and I want the team to be successful, right? Because it means I'm being successful, right? So it all goes in together. Um, but but there is no rush in understanding relationships. There is no pressure in understanding relationships. You don't have to rush into them in order to be successful. In fact, once you understand that relationships are a failed technology, you will be able to make a well informed decision. And I'm telling you, the winning move is not to play the game. Wherever you go, it is just riddled with losses. Riddled with losses. There's not a single man who can say they were in a relationship and came out on top, right? You need to be observant and you need to be able to call out and identify those errors and inconsistencies where and when you see them. And number 10, the last one, open minded. Is that me? In some cases, I guess. Intelligent people do not stop themselves from learning new ideas and take part in new opportunities. Yes, this is me, by the way. Freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy, that's a new opportunity for you. Be open minded, for goodness sake. Shut down the shop, right? And I know it's a bit of a contradiction. You're open minded, but you're shutting things down. But yes, right? Don't stop yourself from learning new things and don't limit your opportunities. This is why you're freezing your sperm. Yes, I know, I'm preaching the vasectomy as the end all, but it's really not about ending your opportunities. It's about preventing you from making mistakes. That's why I say go freeze a few 100 million sperm. Go freeze a billion sperm. I froze a billion sperm. I have enough sperm to repopulate all of Africa, all of North America, most of Europe, and some entire countries in Asia. Sometimes, like, I have enough sperm to populate entire sections of Asia, right? I got more sperm than 10% of the globe, right? There's only 8 billion people right now on Earth, and I have 1 billion sperm. So that's more than 10%. So, keep yourself, in the realm of opportunity, right? But also protect yourself. So, on the one hand, you have the opportunity to protect yourself, and on the other hand, you have a victory that is complete. It says they are willing to accept and considers others' views and values, and broad-mindedness, appreciating diverse ideas, promoting a broad understanding of the world. Broad understanding of the world. I think I have a broad understanding of the world. I think I've seen enough of the world's patterns play out again and again and again to know what comes next. Is it dynamic? Yes. Is it influential, consequential? Yes, and yes, right? But is this an issue? For instance, the predictability of life. Is this something that you cannot overcome? This is not true. You can absolutely overcome it. 99% of men are going to have kids. You can overcome that. That is an impossible statistic to overcome. And yet, here we are. Freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy, and you've overcome the most impossible statistic. 99% of men can't get this right, but you and I, we can. We can do the intelligent thing, right? We have broad-mindedness in appreciating diverse ideas and promoting a broad understanding of the world. Freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy. That's what I hear when I hear those words. Being open minded makes it easy for intelligent people to improve constantly because of the continuous alterations in their perspective. I like that. To be able to improve continuously, and one of the ways we can do that is to keep updating our synapses with new and better information. But having that new and better information is really irrelevant and inconsequential unless you are going to use it. Intelligence is having the ability to acquire and use information, knowledge, and then skills. So you can have the information, you can have the knowledge, but are you going to apply the skills? You know people are going to be unfaithful. You know this. Listen, man, I'm not even trying to rile you up. I'm not being passionate or dismissive or being rude, men or women. This is the world we live in. People are not faithful and loyal their entire lives. They are not going to be, and neither are you. I'm not saying it to be rude. I'm just telling you the truth of life. And I'm saying to you, if this bothers you, if the idea that someone you trust may be deceptive and may betray you in this way, you need to take caution against that. You need to freeze your sperm and get a vasectomy. If you think there's a chance, you need to take the precautions. You really need to take, that is the intelligent thing to do. And once you've taken the precautions, then you can return and act as you choose from a safe position. You need to put yourself beyond the possibility of defeat before engaging in the romance war, right? That way, success is a guarantee even if things don't go well. That is the intelligent thing to do. But I think based on this list that we've just gone through today, we can safely assess that relationships and dating are really not the intelligent thing to do. They are really not the intelligent thing to do. And it's not the thing that I can recommend that anybody participate in. And I'd like you to take the chance and maybe go through the headlines, right? You don't have to read the whole thing again, but just look at the different headlines here and ask yourself, does this represent you in a relationship? For me, it did not. Other than the skepticism, of which I'm still skeptical of relationships, just the whole invention of it, the way it works and the outcomes that it gets, to me, I am not convinced about the efficacy of this. And based on the information that we've read, I think you might come to the same outcome. You might come to deduce that being in a relationship with a complete stranger that you met under the worst circumstances, being in a relationship that may lead to pregnancy, to child raising, 18 to 21 years, that might put you in alimony and divorce and court and lawyer fees, and you lose your retirement and your pension and your assets and your savings and your investments and your stocks and your reputation and your friends and your family. You just lose and lose and lose. That's not an intelligent move to make. Show me someone who has one. Show me someone who has said, hey, look, I paid all those bills, and at the end of paying those bills, I'm a better man for it. There's not a single one. Every single man is filled with regrets for participating in this endeavor, you know. And I, for one, I surrender, man. I give up. I really give up. I've spent money, I've spent time, I've given resources, I've shared skills, knowledge, I've read books, I've watched tutorials, I've received tips, I've been in meetings and counseling and all kinds of things. Yes, I sat in counseling once. You know, they made me wake up in the morning to go listen to somebody tell me some nonsense. It wasn't a personal counseling, it was like a group situation. And I was there in like a support kind of, structure. And I'm never doing that nonsense again. They made us write a list of 50 things that we like about this person. I was like, 50 things? Are you kidding me? I don't even have 50 things that I like in this world. Now, you want me to tell you 50 things I like about one person? Fine, I did it. I had to lie. Not a problem. But really, guys, for you counselors out there, why don't you just bring the list down to like 3 things? 3 things you like about your husband. 3 things you like about your wife. That's enough. 50? No way, man. That's a whole homework assignment. But I've been there and done it, and I hated it. But I watched in there so many people and realized it was actually a marriage counseling thing, by the way. So, it wasn't just for relationships. I was truly there in a support structure situation. 7 o'clock in the morning, we were there. Or was it 8 o'clock? I really can't remember. I was half asleep anyway. And what really got me to open my eyes when they put the pen in my hand and said, write 50 words. Oh, man. Last thing I was expecting. But anyway, we did it. And having looked at that situation and I looked around, I realized that all these people are having problems in their relationships. All these people are having problems in their relationships. Their problems have just got to the point where they can just talk about them publicly. They're coming out just telling people, yeah, we have problems, right? They're not hiding them no more, right? And even that's not the intelligent thing to do. The intelligent thing to do is not to play the game. And I say it all the time in every video. It's really not to play the game. And I think this list of things here, I think it confirms my assessment, right? Is being in a relationships the intelligent things to do? No. Are relationships intelligent? No. The only thing that's intelligent about relationship is skepticism. Just think about that. Skepticism is the only quality here that can be associated with being in relationships. So if you are not in a relationship and you think you're doing the smart thing, I'm here to guarantee you that you are. But this is the end of the reading and the end of the video, and I'd like to thank you again for your time and your attention in indulging me in this content. Please, if you have enjoyed the content, please like, please share it with a friend who you think might enjoy the content or might benefit from it, or somebody who needs convincing that they should freeze their sperm and get a vasectomy. I'm really hoping that this information will reach people who want to get a vasectomy and want to have a social discussion about it. I'm really not looking for millions of subscribers with counterparts in them that are just gonna come and bring their negative energy and criticize us for our life decisions. So if this message does spread, I'm hoping that it spreads to future vasectomites. Whether you're married, whether you're divorced, whether you're a widow, whether you're a bachelor, whether you're undecided, you could freeze your sperm and you could get a vasectomy and have all the benefits of reproduction available to you, right? So support, support yourself, protect yourself, do the right thing, do the smart thing, be skeptical, freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy. I'm going to say that a million times, probably before I die, you know? So protect yourself, protect your seed, and protect your solitude. I am the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme. He who remains, the Phantom Menace and the Master of the Deceptive Arts. And I would like to wish you a wonderful, wonderful day.